leopards, clouded snow and the common leopard. So where do you get all this? And in one place, and then you have two. I mean, and he's happy with it. Everyone's happy with it. And the two countries are very happy with the with this international boundary. Yeah. So many reasons for the Northeast.
So absolutely, and I totally agree. It is a fascinating part of the country, but it isn't the easiest. So I just wondered, as a guide, some of the little things you did and had to do as a game. Back then, hotels and everything was difficult. I mean, one of the things I loved in her book, when you read it, is that anywhere, suddenly there'll be this little bit, we stopped for coffee. But that is not a chai from the chai wallah on the end of the road. No, that's bringing out a table. That is putting on a tablecloth. That is producing real coffee. And this is in a sort of, she saw it, there was it up in Arunachal, and you saw
Yeah, I tell you that story.
Tell them that story, because it's just wonderful.
So this is the Elam Pasighat road, yeah? And I was warned, now you have to be in love with the people who are in the car, okay? You have to love them, because you got to have them work for you. Don't think, oh, he's a driver and he's this, and no chance. You really got to love the guy. Okay, so I'm looking out, and oh my God, it is so beautiful, this Elam Pasighat road. And down, I can see through the forest, I can see this little sliver of white, silver sand jutting out into this azure blue of the Siang, that comes into India. And I said, I want to go down there. And my client, Pete, he said, no, Jennifer, don't get so excited. He's always telling me this. Don't get so excited, it's all right. We can have breakfast somewhere else. I said, no, I want that. So then the local guide turns around to me and he said, do you really want to go there? And I don't look at him, I look at the driver, because he's the important one. And I say, Raju, I know you can do anything if I ask you. Please, can you get me down there? Okay, ma'am. So he turns the car around, and then we go into some area, and he sort of parks it just, if he parked it further, we'd have fallen down the gorge, And then we got out, so my client started walking down. And I said, Raju, and my local guide's name was Debashish, tables and chairs. You want the tables and chairs? Yes, I want the tables and chairs. What's the point of going all the way down there without my So we carried all that down, and they helped me set it up. We were the only person in the world, there was nobody else. There was one frantic Sand Martin going around saying, what the hell is this? I've never seen anything like it. And we opened up the tables and the chairs, and I spread this pretty tablecloth and the lovely cutlery and the crockery, and took out my flask of coffee and these pretty mugs and everything, and McVitie's biscuits and all that, and a little whatever. I mean, I carried all this with me. It was part of me. It was part of me, my everything, the camembert and all that. I shopped well in Delhi. I was an empowered guide by my travel agent. He said, Jennifer, I don't care about your client. I only care about you, because you are the tough cookie.
Well, you're probably answering the question, but I was about to say, what was Pete's incentive to travel with you all this time and keep coming back to travel with you?
You really
but then maybe vice versa. What was your feeling about traveling with Pete?
Okay, so the first thing, when I got the call, this was another book I'm going to write here. It's not, the travel agent whom I dealt with first is not the travel agent I talk about in the book. So I got a call, and he said, we've drawn up this itinerary for about 40 days, and will you be the guide? And I said, to whom, to what, to how, what, whatever. And he said, okay, there's this British client, we don't know anything about it. You don't know anything about him? No, we don't know. Okay. So is he a photographer, wildlife, something? No, Jennifer, we don't know. Do you want the job or not? And by the way, cut your per diem rate into half. And I was thinking, even if he doesn't pay me, I will go. Because the experience I've learned is priceless. You can't put a value on it. And whether they pay you or not, who cares, you know? So I'm in this, and the thing is I want to sort of segue into it. I was getting 3,000 rupees a month from my pension, from my admiral husband who had died 30 years ago. And so, because I couldn't feed my kids, I sent them out. I said, please forget about me, forget about your mother, you go. And they went. They cried and went, but they went. It was the best thing I did, you know. Because, look at me now. All of my life. So now here I'm sitting and talking to you. And what are we talking about? Oh, yes, so then, here we are. And he said, so I said, okay, you can't tell me anything about the client. At least tell me, is he handsome? Because the mandate was, okay, 40 days, okay, that's bad enough. 40 days, and then the mandate was that I had to eat every meal with him, travel with him, talk to him. I don't want this ordinary face, I want a pretty face. So I'm thinking, is he handsome? And he said, oh, Jennifer, just forget that, you know, do you want the job or not? So I said, yes, I'll take it. But guys, the joke was on me because he was devastatingly handsome. And I'm saying, Jennifer, don't look there, don't look, don't look. It will be your undoing. Don't look. Oh my God.
Well, I think I'm going to...
one thing. So the other half of the question I have to answer is how he kept coming back.
Yes, he did.
Okay.
Well, perhaps he thought the same of you. He may have said to his travel agent, I'm only going to go with a good-looking guide.
You're so sweet, Emma. So anyway, so now this is not in this book, okay, the story.
Not wild enough.
Not?
Wild enough.
Not mild enough.
Wild.
Wild enough. Okay. So now I'm going to fly to Connemara, to Tamil Nadu, to Chennai, and meeting Pete for the first time. All right. Now, as a guide, you take in everything. You look at people and you take in all the details because you feed all that information into you. It's all valuable information. You can't just go and sit, I'm the guide, what do you want to know? And then he asked me questions and I fed him what he wanted to know. You don't need to know basis. You don't pull out all the tricks of your trade. So, and then I noticed that carelessly slung over the corner of this chair was a pair of binoculars. Now that is heavy information for me. He didn't know I was a bird watcher. I mean real birds, feathered birds, okay? Don't look at me like that. And so I filed that information away. And so when I first took him on as a client, I have to tell you that the travel agent was not a very good one. He kept me in a hovel. Sometimes worse than a hovel if that's possible, but I was never in the same hotel as my client, okay? So within that first week, and we're following this itinerary, I get a call from my client say, come. Actually, there was no call. Was there in those days? I mean, so long ago, no? Anyway, so he said, come to my hotel, I want to see you. And I went and he said, he thrust this itinerary at me, and he said, Jennifer, what does free day mean? Free day, I said, free day means free, you're free of me. You don't have to do anything. I said, serious? I said, yes, you're in this luxury hotel, luxuriate in it. You can't be serious. So what did I do next? I said, can you stand up? So I look at him and I say, okay then, I will see what I can do. I'll handle it. And I walked off. And as I walked off, he said, oh, Jennifer, by the way, money is of no consequence. Oh, thank you. Yes. Now, what I didn't say was, oh, you know this, I have not drawn up this. It is not my itinerary. It is belonging to the travel agent. I do not have any power. And what will I do? The company will say this and that. Did I care? No. I want to have fun. This is my fun. You create circumstances so that for your own merriment, you have to enjoy, eke out all the joy that you can from your life, you know, create it if there is no joy. Create it.
Beautifully said.
Yeah. So then, I'm finished. And so,
Yes.
I went, I'm not sitting down ever. And so, when he said, what are we going to do? Okay? And I said, okay, I'll think of it. I went straight down because I knew I was in Tamil Nadu, okay? And I had educated myself on birding through the reading of Salim Ali. I'd never met the man, but I had all his books, his volumes and everything. I have my own library. And so then I knew Vedantangal. That's where I'm going to take him, because that is in Tamil Nadu. I know from the Connemara to the Vedantangal how far it was. No, I didn't know anything. But I knew, same state, I'm going to do that. So I told the driver, I said, driver, now, can you get us to Vedantangal? He said, 70 kilometers. I said, take us there. I don't care. I'll pay you as much as you want, but you take me there. So now I went back to the client and I said, okay, if you can get your sun hat, and if you can get some water and maybe biscuits. I was not empowered, to do anything, to buy or to take sandwiches or any such thing. I said, just wear your sun hat and come with me. And he came. Not one word did he ask. Nothing. He didn't ask. And he sat like a good Englishman. He sat very quietly and we went to Vedantangal. Now you have to imagine, we were the only car on the road. There were bullock carts and cyclists and everything else but cars. And we took a couple of hours to reach, finally. And so in my romantic imagination, I had this view of Vedantangal, beautiful lake, overflowing, and all the winter migrant species were there. Of course they were there, but it had much because 100 years had passed since Salim Ali died, and so many 100 years had passed since the lake, Yeah, but I made him sit, and then, and he just sat there and I taught him how to watch birds in great detail, everything. I gave him all the skills and I showed him how to interpret Inskip's book. Inskip had just come out with the field guide. He had the big tome in 2000, but by 2008-9 or something, it came out with these field guides. So I taught him how to interpret it and everything. So now, after one whole day, and we sit in the car, and the Englishman does not talk so much. So we go all the way back, and he's very silent. And we get to the hotel, and I, make the motion of going back to my hovel. And he said, one moment, Jennifer, not just yet. Oh boy. And he said, wait here, please. He went inside, got the itinerary, and he opened it, and he said, when's the next free day? So we went from free day to free day. We messed up the whole itinerary. He did what I wanted to do.
So on that note,
Yeah.
you did make Pete do all sorts of things. And I would like you to read a passage from your book, because I think it's time we heard something that Jennifer's written. And I think we both know the one we want read, which is your little visitation in Nagaland and the accommodation you were trying to put him in.
Yes,
Or the guest house was trying to put you in. So just a taster of how the book is and how Jennifer writes, which is as good as how she speaks.
Okay, so this is in. So sorry. Thank you. So this is in Nagaland, and we had just come out from the Ong's big house, and it showed us all the skulls and everything, all the guys that he'd killed, and the skulls were, assembled there in a corner, and we had fun together. And so now this is just after that visit to the Ong, A-U-N-G-H, means chieftain, okay? So here's the passage. We bid goodbye to the whole community that lived in that house, straddling 2 different countries, then headed off to find our hotel in the vicinity of Mon, home to the Konyak tribal people. Bookings by the Kolkata travel agency had been made for 3 rooms in the best available Helsa cottage in that region. As it turned out, there was no hotel. Instead, it was a homestay, or rather, rooms on rent. More aptly, it was room on rent. Expecting a signboard displaying the hotel's name, we stood outside looking embarrassed as Debashish, remember he's the guide, the local guide. Embarrassed as Debashish walked into what looked like somebody's bedroom. A friendly Konyak tribal woman came to greet us and proudly showed us the mammoth bed we were all going to sleep in. Pete reddened visibly. I laughed out loud. Debashish, in good faith, actually suggested that Pete and I share the room and that he would find alternative accommodation because this was the only safe area. Safe for foreigners, safe for women, and safe for men against other men who were likely to be roaring drunk as they were readying for the forthcoming music and dance festival. I was quite happy to go off with Debashish and take my chances at alternative accommodation. But Pete would have none of that. The gentleman in him insisted that I take the room and that he and Debashish would take their chances, both being men. It was at these times like these, that I felt indebted to the kind of man Pete was. There was no wasting time in the fuss and detail of what was booked and what was paid for, and what should have been done and what could have been done, or any of the tedious hypothetical suggestions that come so readily to some people in uncertain circumstances where essentials were luxuries. Instead, Pete suggested we pull out the forbidden whiskey and have a drink. We were served an insubstantial dinner, but food was the least of our problems. The woman who owned Helsa Cottage suggested accommodation some 13 kilometers away. She gave Devashish directions on how to get there. I didn't know how much of the instructions he understood, but there was only one road. And he said he'd stop as soon as he hit what looked like hutments. Both men left all their belongings behind with me for safekeeping, and with a bare minimum, which included Pete's Leica binoculars, they set off for God knows where. The town had been without electricity for 5 days. All to myself in the bedroom, big enough for a standing elephant. I considered all the possibilities that could go wrong, changing my life forever. But those were pointless thoughts. So I fell into a dreamless sleep alone in a very large bed.
So I think we're slowly running out of time, or probably rather rapidly running out of time before we have some questions. But I have one last question for Jennifer, which is to do with the title, No Half Measures. And where does that come from? And a special request from somebody in the audience was reading a little bit of the Cahill Gibbon poem at the beginning.
Okay, so I'm standing again. So there was a friend of mine who moved off to Australia, and it was around my birthday time, and he rang me up and he said, Jennifer, I was reading Khalil Gibran's poem, and I thought of you because I know you have his books and you love his poetry and all that. So I'm sending you one. And so it's on WhatsApp, and go through it. Now WhatsApp, you're the small little thing, and you have to go and read the whole thing, and I'm reading and saying, okay, you know, because it's a little tedious to read so much, you know. I mean, people our age. So, and then I came to the end and I said, oh, and I paraphrased that whole poem into 3 words. Yeah. So shall I just read a bit? I'm consulting it. It's all right. Like 2 jokers. Do not love half lovers. Do not entertain half friends. Do not indulge in works of the half-talented. Do not live half a life. And do not die half a death. If you choose silence, then be silent. And when you speak, do so until you are finished. Do not silence yourself to say something, and do not speak to be silent. If you accept, then express it bluntly. Do not mask it. If you refuse, then be clear about it. For an ambiguous refusal is but a weak acceptance. Do not accept half a solution. Do not believe half-truths. Do not dream half a dream. Do not fantasize about half-hopes. Half a drink will not quench your thirst. Half a meal will not satiate your hunger. Half the way will get you nowhere. Half an idea will bear you no results. Your other half is not the one you love. It is you in another time, yet in the same space. It is you when you are not. Half a life is a life you didn't live. A word you have not said. A smile you postponed. a love you have not had, a friendship you did not know to reach and not arrive, work and not work, attend only to be absent. What makes you a stranger to them closest to you, and they strangers to you? The half is a mere moment of inability, but you are able, for you are not half a being. You are a whole that exists to live a life, not half a life. I said the whole thing.
I think we have time for a question, if there's a question, because it's tea time now, isn't it? Any questions? I'm sure there are.
Jennifer, I must say that you make the audience fall in love with you immediately. I adored your bubbly personality, full of endorphin. But now the romantic in me wants to know whether there was a Mills and Boone ending.
It's only women who would ask that, you know. So, here's the thing. You have to, as I said, you have to love the people that you work with. You have to. There is no way around that. And I am a romantic, as you can imagine. Where everything, there is this romance. But you got to rein in everything, no? You can't just let go, because then I'll have to change my profession. I'm a guide! Is it okay to say that? So no, yeah, but there was this very, very comfortable, because we're the same age, Pete and I, same age. And so we were very comfortable. That means he could ask me whatever. But the thing is, being a guide, you have to anticipate the needs of your client. If I used to feel that I had failed if the client had to ask me for something, I failed. So the whole time, and how do you do that? You're always engaged. You're watching him, you're listening, and it's very difficult with these English people, because sometimes the words just fall out of their mouth and you've got to catch those as well. so yes, you've got to be, you know, all engaged and all that. Guys, I'm just joking around.
Any more questions? Yes?
How do you manage your infectious pep and excitement for exploration while traversing through insurgency and instability areas that are afflicted with these things?
Oh gosh, the whole book is about insurgency and all kinds of jazz. Yeah, and it's got no half measures. So you pull out all the stops. It is this kind of, what kind of temperament would you say that I am? Mad! You have to be absolutely mad! You know, you've got to be equipped with this madness. Hey, my client always used to refer to me as a high-risk taker. And I grew to love that. Because as a guide, you can't find anything too daunting. I'm not saying be foolhardy and go, you know, it's got to be informed decision. That means you've got to do all your research and everything, isn't it? And be prepared. But yes, this kind of mentality and this kind of maybe personality, could you call it that? It's a strength, especially when you face danger, and you cannot afford to be timid as a guide. You've got to be audacious. So yes, audacity brings hope. Thank you.
You definitely need to read her book, because there is one point where she was told it was totally inaccessible, and even the elephants wouldn't be able to get across the river. But that was not going to stop Jennifer. So you need to read the book to find out what happens next, or catch her over tea and she'll tell you the story.
Yes. So that, any more questions? Yes, sir.
One more question.
What made you self-publish instead of going ahead with a regular
I
publisher?
think I didn't try. I tried and I tried and they threw it back at me. And they said, we don't want this, it's all nonsense and whatever. And one of them from a great big publisher, the way she wrote, I felt that as if she was spitting at me, you know. And
You should have sent in an oral. Would the publishers take that? Can you send in a recording of you reading your own book? Would that help the publishing world?
I don't think anything helped. So then I said, I've got to publish it like that lady, what is her name, Priya Kapoor? Yeah. She said, just don't give up. In any case, I can't give up. I mean, I went to a school whose motto was never give in. Yeah, same school, but different school. And yes, so then I thought, I have to do this. And then someone said, you can self-publish. And therefore, I went to Notion Press. And Notion Press said yes, and they published it. And within 3 days of it being listed on Amazon, it was #1. Wow! Yay! Yes! Wow.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your time, especially after lunch. And now let's
Thank
enjoy
you,
some
thank
tea.
you, thank you,
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you. Thank you, Emma. Thank you, guys. You lovely audience. Thank you so much.
A big thank you for helping us launch into the wonders of nature. We're also grateful for the support of our gift partners, Ramlal Brothers and Kama Ayurveda, our celebration partner Johnny Walker, and our local school partner All Saints School for contributing to the festival experience. As we come to the close of Day 1's Himalayan Echoes Festival, supported by ICCR in association with Uttarakhand Tourism, let's take a moment to celebrate all the voices, stories and ideas shared here in the heart of the mountains. Together we've explored cultures, conversations and connections that stretch across borders and beliefs. As Jim Corbett, one of the most passionate naturalists of our time, once said, the mountains are the beginning and the end of all natural scenery. Today we've been lucky to experience just that, the majesty of nature and the stories that echo through it. We'd like to extend a heartfelt thank you to each of our incredible speakers for their insights and inspirations. To our audience, thank you for being here, whether you've joined us in person or are following along online. Please continue to share your memories, reflections and photos on social media with our handle @Himalayan Echoes and #Himalayan Echoes 2024. And before we sign off for the day, don't forget our special evening arrangements. Join us at Tenny Retreat for a soulful performance by jazz musician Sangeeta Bhattacharya. It's a perfect way to wind down after an inspiring day in the mountains. Dress cozy. We look forward to seeing you there at 7. We'll be here again tomorrow, same time, same place. May the spirit of these mountains continue to inspire you and the stories we've shared continue to echo in your hearts. Thank you.